Good afternoon, everyone. This afternoon, my co-reporters and I will discuss Lesson 10, Cleaning the Copy and Writing the Headline. I am Danilo Lumongo, the first reporter, followed by Chirihil Lorinio and Rijairos Lapis. Copy editing defined. Editing, proofreading, and copy editing are often assumed to be the same thing, but they are not. Meaning to say, editing, proofreading, and copy editing are three separate things. In publishing, it is typically understood that a document that has been edited will still need to be proofed or proofread. We have to remember that even if that particular document has already been edited, it is still subject for proofreading. An editor is often needed for his or her individual style or specialization in a particular subject area. But if you are looking for someone to go through a text with a fine-tooth comb, you need to find a proofreader or copy editor. To help clarify things, here is a helpful guide to explain the differences between these three skills. First, we have editing. An editor has the freedom or right to discard the entire sentences or revise the entire paragraphs. Because a good editor will correct any obvious errors he or she comes across. But his or her main goal is to use his or her expertise and intuition to ensure that the documents make sense, cut down on wordiness, and clarifies any ambiguities. Next, we have proofreading. Proofreading is the process of examining the final draft of a document or text after it has been edited to ensure there are absolutely no errors. The work of a proofreader focuses more on the review of spelling errors, punctuation errors, typos, or incorrect use of regional English, ensuring that you are using American English or British English when necessary. While proofreading can be done electronically, for example using track changes in Microsoft Word, it is just as often done on a printed version, also referred to as a hard copy or PDF. In this case, you will need to familiarize yourself with proofreader's marks. When we say proofreader's marks, it refers to the collection of symbols and shorthand to indicate corrections. The last skill is copy editing or copy reading. To copy edit a document is to proofread it with the added expectation of ensuring style consistency with another content from publication. Some of you here might wondering what is the main difference of proofreading and copy reading because it states here that to copy edit a document is to proofread it. Usually, the copy editor's job is to catch all the mistakes that the author have missed, while proofreaders, on the other hand, catches all the mistakes that the copy editor missed. If we go back to the meaning of proofreading, it says there that proofreading is the process of examining the final draft of a document or text. Copy editing is also known as sub-editing in the UK, Australia, and elsewhere. Also, copy reading refers to the serious and comprehensive revision of an article based on the standards of publications. It includes everything from checking off the facts, restructuring the lead, writing sections to asking a writer to rework a story. Copy reading is more of a journalism in nature as compared to other words defined above. The copy editor must have the talented eye of a proofreader as well as additional expertise in matters of different styles of writing. A copy editor will also have expert knowledge of different style guides and may also perform fact-checking or have specialized knowledge in a particular field. The desk and the desk work. The desk refers to the corps of editors or deskmen whose primordial job is to clean the copies. When we say a copy, it is a journalistic term referring to any article, whether sports, news, editorial, or feature. Sometimes it is also referred to the place where they work. The deskman is a knowledge master. That means that he or she must be a wide reader and is always updated on current knowledge and information. If you are a deskman, you must be a language expert. It means that you must have a good command of the language and a comprehensive knowledge of rules of grammar. Finally, a deskman should be stylist also because he or she must know well the policies of the newspaper. Remember, he is a watchman of a newspaper. He must be flexible enough to do multiple jobs, from writing news stories to supervising the layout of the paper. Please take note of this. There are two main jobs of a desk man or a copy editor. First is editing the copy, and second, writing the headline. The work process. As stated, a copy editor should know the rules like the ABC of writing, which stands for accuracy, brevity, and clarity. The UCE of writing, which stands for unity, coherence, and emphasis. The triple A of writing, which stands for adequacy, static appeal, and appropriateness. The triple C of writing, which stands for conciseness, concreteness, and consistency. And the FIRS of writing, which stands for functionality, exactitude, readability, simplicity, and specificity. If you are a copy editor, you must be very keen in identifying errors. These errors include facts, language, style, tone, legal implications, and structure. After these errors are identified, the copy editor is now ready to correct them through the use of universally known symbols. Before we proceed in identifying the copy editing symbols, let's narrow down first the procedures in copy editing. Number 1. In order for us to determine what kind of story it is, we should read the whole article first. Number 2. Read the article again to determine which the lead paragraph is. Number 3. Take note of errors in fact. Check on the accuracy of the statements and information. If you are in doubt, ask and verify it with the writer. Number 4. Read the story again and mark all paragraph beginnings. Then correct errors in grammar, spelling, punctuation, and style using copy reading symbols. Copy reading symbols which I'll be discussing later on. Number 5. Improve the organization of the story. Make sure that the lead features the lead fact. 6. Go over the whole story again. Remove all unnecessary and irrelevant materials. Number 7. Check the length of the story and then prepare the clean copy. Number 8. Write a very catchy and fitting headline for the story. Give the printer's mark for both the body text and headline. Encircle the slug line. Lastly, number 9. The article is now ready for printing. The copy editing symbols. Here are the copy editing symbols. I think we're all familiar with the quote, "Nobody's perfect," right? However, in case of copy editing, that's not an excuse. Because as a copy editor, you have to make sure that everything is perfect as much as possible. That's why the duties of copy editors are crucial in the outcome of your paper. So here are the copy editing symbols. I know it's a lot to digest, but as a reporter, I'll try my best to explain each symbols provided with instruction as well as examples in each symbol. So without any further ado, let's get to it. First symbol, we have this. This is the indentation symbol or indent or set in new paragraph. So for example, here is a statement. The student won first place in the contest. He is from BCIS. So it seems like the statement needs to be indented or in a new paragraph form. That's why by putting this symbol, it means that this should be indented or in a new paragraph. Okay? Next, we have this symbol. This is no new paragraph. For example here, the student won first place in the contest. He is from BCIS. As you can see, the sentence he is from BCIS does not need to be in a new paragraph form. That's why by putting the symbol, you are emphasizing that this should be in a one paragraph with this statement above. Next, we have capitalized symbol. Here's an example. Blessed Children Integrated School. Since this is the name of a school, we have to capitalize each first letter. So here, blessed, the letter B should be capitalized, letter C, I, and S. Next, we have here, do not capitalize. So here an example, the school. We all know that school is a common noun, right? That's why we have to put this symbol to indicate that the first letter of school should not be capitalized. Next, we have abbreviate or use figures. When we say abbreviate, it means to shorten. For example here, Senator Miriam Santiago. The senator here, if we're going to abbreviate this by putting this symbol, And by putting the symbol, it means that the senator will be abbreviated and it will become sen period. That's the shorter version of senator, right? And also use figures. In a news that you are you're copy editing. If there's a words number that is in a word formation, by putting this symbol, it means that you are trying to emphasize that this this should be in a number form. Next, we have this symbol spell out in words. For example, the city government of Manila. It seems like the government here is abbreviated. And by putting this symbol, you are trying to emphasize that the the word government should be spelled out. Next, we have this transpose symbol. Actually, these two symbols are different and not the same in information, but they have the same function. We have your example, University of the Philippines. It seems like the university here is misspelled because letter E comes first before letter V, which is incorrect. To make this correct, we use this transpose symbol. We are trying to transpose letter V because V should come first before letter A to make the word university correct, and it will become University of the Philippines. Next, we have another example, University of the Philippines. It seems like the letter I, the word of, we are going to transpose these words by using this symbol, and it will become University of the Philippines. Next, we have this symbol, insert letter symbol. In the file provided by Ma'am Rowie, this is the symbol, but this symbol also is correct. Okay, for example here at BCS, it seems that this is the name of a school. This is Blessed Children Integrated School, and there's a missing letter here. And to indicate that there's a missing letter, you are going to use this symbol and then indicate the missing letter above. Okay, we have also here insert word symbol. Here, Blessed and Integrated School, and there's a missing word which is children. That's why by putting this symbol, you are trying to emphasize that there's a missing word, and the missing word is above. And here, the delete letter symbol. For example here, write your name. It seems like the word write is misspelled, and we're going to make it correct. We are going to delete a letter on it, and by deleting letter H, by using this symbol, you are trying to emphasize that the letter H should be deleted. And here you go, the word right is now correct. We have here the delete word symbol. For example here, 3 new cars. It seems like the adjective new is not needed in this. That's why by putting this symbol, you're trying to say that the word new should be delete. Next, we have this change letter symbol. Here, for example, write your name. The word write is spelled. That's why we have to get rid of the letter H by using this symbol. And then in the lower part, we're trying to insert using this symbol, and in the upper part is the replaced letter. Next, we have this change word symbol. Here, 3 new cars. It seems like the adjective new is incorrect, and we are trying to use this symbol to get rid of the word new, and then put this symbol to emphasize that there's a new word replaced above. Next, we have this symbol, insert period. For example, he went to school. So this sentence is incomplete without period, right? That's why we have to put period here, this symbol. Next is insert comma symbol. Here, Cabiao, Nueva Ecija. We should insert comma here to separate the Cabiao and Nueva Ecija. So another example would be Kibagot, Lagingdingan, since Kibagot is under the municipality of Lagningan, we have to insert comma using the symbol. Next, we have this symbol again. Insert apostrophe. Here, you're welcome. We all know that your is the contraction of the word you and are. And that's why here there's a missing apostrophe, but we are trying to insert this apostrophe using the symbol. And you're welcome. Next is insert quotation mark symbol. This is easy, he said. It seems like we have to insert quotation in this and using this symbol. Next is insert hyphen symbol. 7-year-old girl. 7-year-old needs to be there's a need for us to use hyphen. That's why we have to put this symbol, which is insert hyphen symbol. Next is insert space symbol. So the word the and children is connected, and we should these two words should be separated, and using the symbol we are trying to emphasize that there should be a space in between the children, the word the and the children. Next we have this symbol, connect but leave space. For example, from the city, it seems like there's a redundant word here, the, and we're trying to remove this. And by using the symbol, we are emphasizing that we are going to connect the word the and city, but we are going to leave a space. Next is the close up. For example, here BCIS. This is a name of a school, abbreviated name of a school. That's why we have to close this up by using the symbol. Next, we have the step or restore symbol. Here, a true friend. It seems like the word true is removed or delete. But by using this symbol, it means that the word true should be restored. Next is more. Continues on next page. Usually we use this word if you are copy editing 2 or 3 more pages to indicate that there's more pages next. Next we have number 30 sign symbol, end of the story. We usually put this symbol to indicate that that's the end of the story you are copy editing. Or the other symbols. This symbol over here, we usually use this to take out extra letter. And this symbol here, we usually use this to indicate italic letters. And this symbol, we usually use this to indicate bold copy or bold words. This rectangular shape symbol here, or FC, this is to spell name as written. Next we have this symbol, which is mark in dash. And if you want to indent the copy on the left side, use this symbol. And indent copy from both sides, use this symbol. And this symbol here, indicating symbols and indicating equations. And last symbol here, this is used usually to wipe out sentences or long phrases. That's it. As I was saying a while ago, do not forget to put the number sign symbol or just number 30 at the end of the article. If the copy runs within 2 or more pages, write more below the pages except the last page. We're now moving on to the journalistic writing. According to Roger Mudd, journalists cannot march in the parade. They can only stand on the curve and write about what goes by and why. Why is it that journalists cannot march in the parade? If we can recall from the previous discussion, one of the tenets of journalism is objectivity, truthfulness, and accuracy, right? Specifically in the guidelines suggested by Thiel and Taylor 1983, that as a journalist, you have to assess your alliances. You should always remember that you are an observer, not a participant. Thus, journalists must refrain to join or march in a parade, and according to Roger Mudd, they can only stand on the curve and write about what goes past and why. According to Joseph Pulitzer, a famous publisher in the 1800s, one of the important qualities of journalistic writing, in his memorable comment, which is accuracy, accuracy, accuracy. The above mentioned quote from Roger Muds refers to another important qualities of journalistic writing, which is objectivity. In addition, all journalistic writing should be clear, concise, and colorful. Nothing is more embarrassing or unprofessional than writing and publishing a story that has factual inaccuracies. As a reporter or a journalist, you are responsible for the information printed in your story. Review everything carefully because your reputation and that of your publication are at stake. Now we have tips for accurate reporting and editing. Number 1. Verify each fact and quote against your notes. If you are in doubt about anything, check with your sources again. Double check the spellings of students, faculty, and staff names, as well as grade levels and titles. Refer to official documents or listing of information such as homeroom list or school directory. Keep a current phone book and an atlas handy to double check the names of organizations and places. Double check dates using a calendar. Number 2. Be objective. Strict objectivity is required. To be objective, you must report the facts without bias or preconceived ideas. You cannot let your own personal opinion cloud or slant your report. When we say fact, it refers to something that can be verified, measured, or proven. For example, it is 78 degrees. While on the other hand, opinion refers to a personal viewpoint subject to interpretation. For example, it is hot outside. Your sources will probably provide you with both facts and opinions, and a good story should include both. However, the opinions should be those of your sources and should be attributed to them. Your story should not include your opinion, because when you add your own personal viewpoint in a news story that you are publishing or writing, it is now called editorializing. If you report about a pep rally and say that everyone had a great time, you are editorializing. You cannot prove that everyone had a great time. Report what you saw and heard, not what you think or feel. Let the readers draw their own conclusions. Number 3. Present all significant viewpoints of a story. Be careful as you choose which sources to draw from and which opinions and facts to use. Give equal time to pro and con views. Whether or not you intend to, you can tip the balance of a story. Strive for a thorough, fair representation of all sides. You have an obligation to report not only the truth but also the whole truth. Number 4. Cite the source of all opinions in your story. If you are unsure whether you are editorializing, ask yourself, would everyone agree that this is true? Eliminate the words I, me, my, mine, we, us, our, you, and your from your story unless you are quoting one of your sources. Avoid any words that suggest a judgment or opinion, such as should, good, excellent, cool, poorly, unfortunately, hopefully, and especially, unless you make it clear to the reader that someone else said them. We are now moving on to omitting verbal deadwoods. Effective writing is concise. You can be very concise by dropping unnecessary words from phrases or sentences. Here are some examples of verbal deadwood drawn from Philippine newspapers and inter-office memoranda. We have here affects his signature. We can simply say signed, at the present, now, held a conference, met, in the immediate vicinity, near, and so on. We are now at the last part of my report, which is the common mistakes. Disclaimer, I'm not really sure if this part is entitled common mistakes, but upon reading, it seems to me that this is about most common mistakes and redundancy. Anyway, we have here number 4, major breakthrough. A breakthrough is already major and significant. There is no reason to say that it is major. That's why there's no need for you to add major when you talk about breakthrough. Number 5, 9 a.m. in the morning or 9 p.m. in the evening. This is one of the most common mistakes that reporters do. Again, this is redundant because AM is already referring to morning and PM is referring to evening, and that is a common sense already. Number 6, past history. By definition, history is someone's past. Saying that a person checked your past history or looked into his past record is redundant since these things have already happened and are by definition an occurrence in the past. Number 7, plan ahead. When a person makes a plan, he is already preparing for the future. There is no reason to add ahead after you tell someone to plan. Number 8, postpone until later. To postpone something already means to reschedule it at a later time. The until later part of the phrase is unneeded or unnecessary. A good remedy for this phrase would be postpone until tomorrow morning or postpone until tomorrow evening or something else that is more specific than later. Number 9, unexpected surprise. By definition, a surprise is going to be unexpected. Thus, no one expects a surprise. That's why it's very redundant to add unexpected next to surprise because again, surprise is going to be unexpected. Number 10, unintentional mistake. When someone makes a mistake, it is already unintentional. Unintentional is unnecessary. Another common way people use this form of redundancy is with the phrase accidental mistake. Number 11, written down. You may have heard the phrase write this down or it is written down. But when something is written, it has been taken down. There's no need for you to add the word down to it. And lastly, number 12, still remains. Yet she still remains. This phrase is redundant because remains means that something is still there. Still doesn't add anything to the sentence. Other samples of redundant expression are the following: a period of 2 weeks, fatal killing, all killings are fatal, free gift, gift, when you receive a gift that is free and you don't pay for it. Other alternative, there's no need for you to add other because alternative is a term used referring to another solution. Definitely decided, final conclusion, new recruits, like for instance.
Hello everyone, I am Cherry Hilary and I'm going to discuss the continuation of our report. So we are now in using simple words. You would not lose your reader if you have given him shorter sentence and fewer complex words, because headlines are expected to be short, accurate, and attention-grabbing. In the case of headline, every word counts, so you need to avoid using unnecessary words. And as a journalist, you have to choose precise words that will grab the attention of the readers. So there is no better way to clear, crisp writing style than short sentences and short words. Here is the rule of thumb. Keep the percentage of hard work, like 3 or more syllables, under 10%. If you mix in more than one 3-syllable word in that 10%, you are taking chances. That is about the limit of easy reading. Look at the list culled from the newspapers and office memoranda. So we have here some complex words and common words. In complex words, it has more than one syllable, and in the common words, it only has one syllable. So instead of writing category, why not use class? Instead of contribute, why not use give? Facilitate, to help or help, and so on and so forth. So I'm not saying that it's not allowed to use complex words. It's just that it's nice to use simple words for your readers to easily read and understand the content of your headline. Now let's move on to concrete and precise writing. The 3 rules for good writing are be concrete, be concrete, and third, be concrete. In order for the readers to fully understand what the headline is all about, you have to stay away from abstract words. Instead, use precise details and specific information so they could easily understand your concept. You can also use measurable descriptors whenever possible. Avoid vague terms like big or good and try to attract readers by just using specific terms and descriptions. So the journalists write to express, not to impress. Take democracy and indoctrination for example. So if you ask someone about his idea on indoctrination, they might answer content or what is taught, method how it is taught, and outcome or the result of teaching. And if you also ask others about their idea on democracy, they might answer direct democracy, monitory democracy, representative democracy, and others. So if you just use this general word, you'll probably have a hard time finding 3% that will agree on the exact meaning of the words. So use many concrete and specific words that stand for things you and your reader can use, that you and your readers can see, hear, taste, touch, and smell. Concrete nouns have focused your reader's attention. Always prefer the specific to the general, the definite to the vague, and the concrete to the abstract. Furthermore, you must watch out for vague or imprecise words. So here are some sample of vague words culled from the newspaper reports. The left part is the general term and the right side is the specific. So instead of just writing tragedy, why not use the specific tragedy like fire, explosion, drowning, cave-in, and instead of using accident, you can specifically state it is a collision, a fall from a building, sleep, so on and so forth. On the other hand, precision plate or precision pace. The search for the precise word should extend to sentences. Consider these examples. So we have here a sentence that belongs to or a vague sentence. His head was injured by a blunt instrument. So it does not specifically state which part of the head, what kind of injury, and what does it mean by blunt instrument. So in precise sentence, it is specifically stated. His skull was fractured with a hammer. Second example, officers removed a gun from his clothing. So there are lots of officers, there are kinds of guns, and there are also kinds or parts of clothing. So in the precise sentence, he specifically stated the officers he mean is the police officers, and the gun is a .32 caliber automatic, and the part of clothing is the hip pocket. In the third sentence, a large number assembled for the meeting. So you should specifically state the exact word or exact number of the people involved. So in the precise word, it specifically states that it is 500 attended the caucus. Or caucus means a meeting for a specific political party. And the last example is he spoke in disparaging terms about a radical element. So the radical element is the communist. So in precise sentence, it turns to he denounced the communists. So this is an example of precise headline because it states the exact number of people who die and the type or the kind of illness or disease. The headline. This refers to the title of any news story, and it is described as a short telegraphic major messages of the news. Oftentimes, it is the gist of the lead. So to better understand headline, it is a display windows of newspapers. It is a quick source of information about the story. Good headlines will make a newspaper page attractive. Poor headline will make a page seem dull. So how can we say that it is a good headline? If it grabs the reader's attention and it conveys clear and concise thoughts. How about poor headlines? So we can say if it is a poor headline when it is misleading and it confuses the reader. So poor headlines might discourage them from reading the stories. So we have here the traditional newspaper headline. Every word is capitalized except for short prepositions like at, by, for, from, in, on, to, etc. and the or the. And it capitalized only when they appear at the beginning of a line. Second is newer style of headline writing. So it capitalizes only the first word and proper nouns that would be capitalized in a normal sentence. And most newspapers also calls for attention by having a multiple column headline. So we have here an example of a multiple column headline. So a multiple column headline is one which extends over 2, 3, 4 or more column width. So we have here traditional style, example of a traditional style. Students erect book kiosk. So as you can see, so it capitalizes the first letter of each word. In the newer style or the down style, it just capitalize the first letter of the first word and the rest is in lowercase. So headline verify the page on which they appear. It introduces contrast and relief to the dull gray of the body type, and it brings balance, symmetry, and typographical beauty to a well-arranged page. So we have here another example. Can you guess which of the two is traditional and newer style? Okay, very good. Number 1 is the newer style, and the number 2 is a traditional style. Remember, you need a set of short and precise vocabulary for headline writing. If the maximum count or the number of units that will get into the space is 14 units, you cannot squeeze 15 units into it. You must reconstruct the headline. Headlines must say exactly what the stories say. They must reflect the facts and flavor of the story. Although they must be bright to attract the readers, they must give the precise meaning of those stories and not leave any false impression. Now let's move on to the functions of headlines. First, gives the gist of the news, or it concisely conveys the essence of the story. Second, it presents the news for rapid survey reading. So it tells the story in summary. Third, it indicates the relative importance of the news. So it communicates the importance of the story. Number 4, it gives a pleasing appearance to the news because its function or its purpose is to grab or catches the attention of the readers. And now we are in the guidelines in headline writing. Read the story first. So it's not just to read, but you also have to understand it. Second, clues to the headline are usually in the lead, since it contains the answer of the 5 W's and 1 H. Number 3, use the shortest word possible. Use cop instead of police, nab instead of arrest, mishap instead of accident. Another example are up instead of increase and down instead of decrease. Number 4, always have a subject and a verb. The headline should not start with a verb because it will look like you are giving a command to your readers. So we have here, give more funds is a wrong headline. And the better headline should be, Palace gives more funds to DepEd. Number 5, use historical present tense if the verb is in the active voice. This is to prioritize the immediacy and timeliness of the news. It also preserves the freshness of the whole article. So for example, Forger topped editorial tilt is a wrong headline. Instead, you should write Forger tops editorial tilt. Number 6, Delete helping verb if the verb is in the passive voice. Only the past participle is retained. So, drug pushers are nabbed is a wrong kind or a wrong headline. And the correct one is drug pushers nabbed. Number 7. Use infinitives for future events. So it is wrong to write UNIDA will attend GSP Confab. Instead, write UNIDA to attend GSP Confab. Number 8. Do not put period at the end of the headline. So as you can see in the headline of the news, it doesn't end in period. Number 9. Delete or omit articles like a, an, and the or the. So a fire hits the head office is a wrong headline. Instead, you should write fire hits the head office. Number 10. Use single quote in headline. So there is an example of a headline that uses a single quote. Number 11. Use a comma instead of the conjunction and. So instead of writing Castillo and Esperanza attend national seminar, you should write it in this way: Castillo, comma, Esperanza attend national seminar. Number 12. Use the exclamation point sparingly or in infrequent manner. Number 13. When you have assertions and the sources are given, quotation marks are not needed. The one and dash will serve as purpose. For example, Mar a liar, Duterte. Duterte, Mar a liar. Mar a liar, says Duterte. Number 14. Avoid splitting words that naturally go together. So it is wrong to write BNSHS observes linggo ng wika with tilts. But you should write it this way: BNSHS conducts linggo ng wika with tilts. Number 15. Do not leave a preposition at the end of the headline. So it is wrong to write mentor calls for reform of schools. Instead, write it in this manner: mentor calls for reform in Cagayan schools. So it specifically states what or which or where is that school. So it is specifically stated that it is Cagayan school. Number 16. Use only widely known abbreviations. 17. Be positive. So it is inappropriate to write meeting not to push through. Instead, you should write board meeting cancelled. Number 18. Don't use Xmas for Christmas. And I think it's because campus journalism campus journalism is a academic writing, so you should write the words in formal or in a formal manner. So you should not make any shortcuts of the word, so you have to spell it correctly. Number 19. Use kickers to attract attention or add more information into your headlines. Kickers are short lines placed above the headlines and usually underlined. So we have here an example of kicker. Now let's proceed to headline vocabulary. Headline vocabulary gives priority to short words. Note how newspapers have used shorter words instead of its longer synonym, and how newspapers have coined their own short words to stand for their longer counterparts. So instead of using a longer sentence like agreement, you can just use accord. Instead of using impede or thwart, why not just use bulk or bulk? Instead of using speak for or defend, so we can just use to back, and so on and so forth. And now we are in mechanics of headline writing. So a copy editor should also master the technical instructions or the printer's direction. So we have here 3-30, Arial block inverted pyramid, and we have here two lines below the text and then body text Arial narrow. So the meaning of this is that 3 means that the headline will run across 3 columns of the page. The 30 stands for the font size to be used. Arial block is the font type. Inverted pyramid is the headline pattern to be used, and the two lines below is it means it is or there is a two-line headline. And there is an example. Be a ASEAN stood leaders to support advocacy on environment. So it follows the mechanics of headline writing. And that's it for my part.
Hi, this is Richard Lapis, and I'll be discussing the last part of our report that includes the headline patterns and the reminders to editors. There are 7 kinds of headline patterns: the crossline or bar line, the drop line, the flash left, flash right, flash line or full line, the inverted pyramid, and the hanging indentation. Crossline or bar line is a single line of headlines running over 2 or more columns. In the previous lessons, it was discussed what are the columns, right? In this example, there are 4 columns and a single line of headline. Drop line, composed of 2 or 3 lines of headline, usually of the same length and are arranged diagonally. As you can see, the first line is flash left, while the second is indented. Flash left. 2 or more headlines are aligned at the left edge of the column. These lines do not have to be equal in width or set full. Same with the flash right, but this time the headlines are aligned at the right edge of the column. Flash line or full line. It consists of 2 or more lines of the same length. As you can see, the lines are equal in width. Hanging indentation. This pattern carries 2, 3, or 4 lines. The first line is longer than the other lines and flash left. The other 2 lines are equal and indented to an equal number of spaces to the left, as you can see in the example. Last part, the last kind of the kind of headline pattern is the inverted pyramid. This is 2 or more lines of a headline with the first line flushed to both margin and the succeeding lines getting shorter and centered. The unmarried is centered, right? I'm testing you guys if you're still listening. What kind of headline pattern is this? NCR 198 other areas under alert level 1. Comment your answer in this comment section that I'll be watching. Exactly. This is crossline or bar line since it is a single line running over 2 or more columns. Last example. Yes, that's inverted pyramid because the lines are getting shorter and centered. We're done with the headline patterns and let's move on to reminders to editors. A good straightforward lead stated in a subject-verb declarative sentence is a good way to begin a story. Declarative sentences make a statement that simply gives facts or an opinion. It tells the reader what is going on in a direct way. For example, 10 neck exercises to prevent tension headaches. In this lead example, the readers already know what was going on in this paper to prevent tension headaches. Use simple words. Use said instead of disclose, reveal, or underscored, and instead of writing decisive, extensive, vital, simply use important. Use short, simple words. Short, simple language or words is clearer for the reader. So, use go with instead of company and take part instead of participate. Do not use any informal words like night, NITE for night, NIGHT. With words having two spellings, use the shorter form. Use the prepositions at and on correctly. Use at before a person's complete address and on before the name of the street. Franco Cortes lives at 2627 Aguada, Ozami City. He lives on Aguada, Ozami City. Be careful on words ending in ISE, IZE, YZE, and YSE. Consult a dictionary for doubts in spelling. In American English, these are always spelled with IZE, but the standard position in British English is that they can be spelled with either IZE or ISE. Look at the examples. Authorize. In the British English, it is ISE or IZE, but American English uses IZE. And also for YSE, British English uses YSE, analyze. And for the American English, in their analyze, they spell YZE. Do not interchange the words personal with persons, hugging and hugging, adverse, adverse. They have different meanings. Again, consult a dictionary for doubts in meanings and words. Avoid using last week, last month, or recently. State the date or day. All right should be written this way. All right. Be careful with the word everyday, one word, and everyday, two words. Everyday, one word is an adjective meaning. Adjective meaning used or seen daily. Everyday, two words is an adverb phrase meaning daily or seen weekday. Example: the phone calls were an everyday occurrence. One word. They go to the coffee shop every day. Two words. Hyphen your words correctly. Use a hyphen to join two or more words serving as a single adjective before a noun. Example, a one-way street, a well-known author. Use a hyphen with compound numbers. Our much-loved teacher was 63 years old. 63. Use a hyphen with the prefixes x meaning former, the self, all with the suffix elect between a prefix and a capitalized word, and with figures or letters. For instance, ex-husband, self-assured, mid-September, all-inclusive, mayor-elect, the American, T-shirt, pre-Civil War, and mid-1980s. Do not be afraid to end a paragraph with comma or semicolon. Be consistent. If students and bylines are identified by section, let them all be identified. Each paragraph should have just one sentence in news stories. If a paragraph is longer than one column, cut it because it is to communicate urgent information. All subjects like social studies and mathematics, exact languages like English or Filipino, and abbreviations like PTF or PA to begin with small letters, unless they are specific courses like Journalism 2 and Science 1. Use the reason is or the reason that is that instead of the redundant phrase, the reason is because it's redundant. Avoid starting a story or a caption with a and the at a meeting, it is, and there is. These words are too basic. Instead of saying a blue jay in the border forest, simply say blue jay flying through the border forest. Avoid beginning a caption with this photo or this photo shows or photo shows. For instance, this photo shows that Heidelin Diaz holding her gold medal. The caption shouldn't be, this photo shows Heidelin Diaz holding her gold medal, or photo shows Heidelin Diaz holding her gold medal. Instead, tell the reader something they cannot see, like explain what Heidelin Diaz did to earn the medal, or share a quote from her or from her coach, or the significance of the photo itself. Like this, Heidelin Diaz, the first Filipino to ever win an Olympic gold medal. A caption should be short but might give all information pertinent to the picture to the event it covers. Even though the picture accompanies the story, the caption must present the essential facts with the assumption that nobody knows anything about the story except what is in the picture. The caption tells the rest. Acknowledge the photographer's name. If a picture is outstanding, the caption should include the photographer's name. Borrowed cuts from newspapers and other publications should be acknowledged. Headlines should be shorter statements than leads. Use a single quotation mark or leads. No quotation marks are needed when there is a dash between direct quote and the speaker's name. News heads must not be mere labels. Use only well-known and standard abbreviation in heads. Abbreviation is a shortened form of a written word or phrase used in place of the whole word or the phrase, like HR, Human Resources, ATM at this moment. Heads of feature stories should match the tone of the stories. The tone should fit the mood of the story and supply the theme or angle. It should lead the readers into the story. To break two sentence type units, use a semicolon, a comma, in place of an and. Sorry for the typo, but the Thailand, comma, Vietnam, comma. I forgot the comma. He visited Thailand, comma, Vietnam, comma, and Singapore in the spring, semicolon. Germany, comma, France, comma, and Italy in summer. And also remember to use the flush left down style for the news heads. 3-line heads are preferred for 1-column stories. two-line heads are for two-column stories, and cross-line for multi-column stories, but I only found the cross-line for multi-column stories. I guess that ends our report. Thank you and have a good day.